Hello, friends. Day 4. Bar is closed. Great day today, actually. By the way, the only thing I reminded myself to try to say before I forgot everything I was going to say is that I just want to make it clear I've got no journal right now. I got no notepads. I'm not writing anything down, so I'm just kind of existing in the world of, I can't overdo this, just going to take one piece at a time, base hit. So anything I'm saying here right now is completely off the cuff, and I think it's probably going to remain that way unless 37 episodes in. I just can't even imagine what more to say, but I think we'll be okay for a while. So today, kind of what synergized was, personally, it was really amazing. I got to, have a new office space drop into my lap right on downtown, Main Street, Sheridan. Neat gift from the greater goods and God. So I get to move, I get to make this really cool next round of grounding here, not just from the house and story and the little perch up here in the top, but get to also, go down and do all the other things that I do for a living and continue to grow and mature, which is kind of what we talked about at the beginning 4 days ago. And so it's happening fast. I really didn't even see this thing until yesterday, and then saw it in a post, and price was too unrealistic. I didn't think it was going to work. And then next thing I know, I'm down there talking to him, and boom, it's in. So really feeling like gratitude and grace, and somehow making a personal responsible choice and decision has now Richtered out a little bit more, and bringing it back. The ebb and flow is happening, and that feels good. Second to that, I can't even believe it. My youngest son is flying in tonight, and he arrives on this very evening. And to speak to that, the sobriety, I'm glad to be stone sober when he's arriving, and really anchoring him in as a man, as both of my boys have decided to move up to Sheridan, Wyoming as well. So we made a big shift from Florida to here, and now we're mountain men, all three of us. So I have a 19-year-old, a 22-year-old son, and they've been my world, as most would tell you. Not always been the greatest father, but they have been my world. So they're here. They're here tonight, and that is amazing. I'm really even more happy and just excited. I swung by the little Wagon Box Bar again right down the street and had a couple more beers and talked to this really, local guy, really great history and cool energy, Ted, and just, did my normal at the bar and, a couple of non-alcoholic beers, and there was no other craving, which was really cool. I think if I remember back to the 60 days before, there was still, right? I felt like I was finding that this might work, but I was putting myself in danger's way, where now I really know that that's not the case. So that's affirmative on day 4. I promised that I would have myself a cup of tea this time around, and I do. So I'm sipping on that, and it's still cold. I have not been able to handle that yet, but that's coming soon. On some other personal fronts, I think, what really hit me today was asking myself why I've been drinking as an adult, not as a teenager where that you're doing it for all those reasons. And I'm sure there's so many other people who know so much more about all this than I do. I'm coming at this completely personal with no real understanding or education. This is simply from one human being to another. But, I had to kind of start to think about, and then when I didn't drink as an adult, like when drinking wasn't a part of that, like in my early 20s in college, I was very focused on college. I wasn't a heavy drinker. I was actually a kind of total spiritually, hippie, chic, long hair, so alcohol wasn't really play a lot in it. It happened, I think, eventually when I felt like I was taking on more than I could chew. And I'd done enough of it for it to be fun before, so I knew what the fun would come out of it, and I knew that it can obviously allow, and I drank a lot as a teenager, right? But there was a period there where I didn't have time, and there was a period there in my parenting and all that where drinking wasn't obvious that was something that was going on with me. It was, I would go out and tear it up when we could, and then, maybe I would take it too far and embarrass myself, but then I was back to normal and had hard work to do and parenting to do. So I got to have these sabbaticals from recognizing what it would eventually become today. And so then it begged the question, well, why do you do it? What have you been gaining out of this? And, you can obviously go off on the areas where you've shamed yourself, and, you know, there's a lot of different places I can be playing with, but I didn't really focus on that today. I kind of sat with, you know, well, okay, well, why? You know, and a couple of the real truths I think that surfaced for me was kind of like the cigarettes, which really truly are an addiction. Like, I don't necessarily feel even now that I'm addicted to alcohol. I feel like I choose it, you know, passionately. Cigarettes, that was an addiction. You know, there was no doubt that I got addicted to that. And I was even doing the American Spirits, where it's supposedly no additives, and so it's like less addictive, but no, them damn things are addictive just from a cartridge perspective. And so that was addiction, but alcohol was a real, you know, like choosing your lover every day. And so boredom, obviously, I think is what we're seeing a lot in COVID and stuff. Like, you know, just an overall sense of boredom is one good reason to really pour down some booze. You know, another one is overwhelm. Kind of like the cigarettes, you know, when you like, all of a sudden you're getting extra stressed and you're kind of hyper energy on a conference call. I want to smoke cigarettes, or I want to smoke it right after. It's a part of that adrenal. I don't have another place to take it. But alcohol kind of works in that way, where it's like cigarettes, where it's like you're thinking to yourself, I want me time. Even if I'm going to share it with other people, I kind of want to go down with the smokers and maybe have a smaller conversation that seems more intimate with my cigarette, or I'm going to grab my drinks and have a smaller conversation at the bar or at home. That kind of intimacy of alone time with others or alone. That's when you really start to realize shit's going down. And for me, it really, I think, took place mostly in COVID. I was mostly a social drinker, but I think obviously in COVID, I really took it over the top on the capacity I had to drink at home and even alone. So then why? You've got this kind of boredom, you've got this kind of overwhelm, and you've got this kind of, this is me time. And those seem like enough powerful influencers. And someone like me who's really been pretty ambitious in my life, for good or bad, and I've had a lot on my plate, and I hope to have maintained as much integrity as I can and all that, to ensure that I'm doing the good works that I've been asked to do or paid to do or anything else, and treat my hobbies as hobbies, and all the things that you do that I've been doing to try to survive and raise boys and grow into the man I'm becoming. But in that, in those layers, in those windows into myself, those seem to be the most obvious reasons, and I'm sure more will. And then, you know, self-loathing, of course. I think there's an aspect of when you take it too far, you're kind of self-loathing. You know, and I don't know, that's going to take some more unpacking, but I don't see myself as much of a self-loather, and pray to God that many of the people who love me or in my circles don't see me as self-loathing, but it had to have been there. I think it's definitely another little dark shadow to the other three, and whatever else comes from there, I don't know. So that's a mouthful today, kind of where we're at. Like I said, countdown to my son coming in, feeling super grateful, and just kind of exhilarated and excited to go more sober and to seemingly maybe find a greater harmony with all during this process. Thanks again for joining me. Talk soon. Tomorrow.